Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
As you all know, about a week and a half ago, we had the fall cleanup. And this year, we also added the Cleanup Cup Challenge to inspire some of our friendly competition between communities. I want to thank all of the residents, businesses, and community organizations that participated, as well as city employees. We really had a great showing. Thank you, Baltimore. We had over 40 community groups representing 126 neighborhoods across Baltimore and more than 270 volunteers. At the end of the day, we collected almost 140 tons of trash. Now to our inaugural winner of the Cleanup Cup Challenge. This team collected 472 bags of trash and 185 bulk items, including items like 13 mattresses, 8 box springs, and a full living room set. Your winner from Compton Heights, with a team of 35 volunteers, is No One Left Unhelped and Kevin L. Cooper Foundation. Second place goes to Village of Violetville, Inc., and third place goes to York Road Partnership. Congratulations to our winners and our runners-up, and I want everyone to get ready because spring cleanup is around the corner. Now to today's announcement. We're going to have, come on.
I'm announcing. No, I'm not announcing that. I just want to say thank you to the mayor.
No. The reason why I wanted it because it was her idea to come up with the cup.
Thank you.
So you want to talk about why you thought a cup
I
should
sure
be?
do.
Okay.
I also wanted to acknowledge Natasha Neal. She's the community liaison for Be More Beautiful. This program was just, the challenge was just created to get a little more excitement behind cleaning up in our city. It's a problem. We have a problem with trash. And so we wanted to give some friendly competition, and the mayor loves having these kind of competitions. So this is coming back. We're coming back in the spring. It's going to be bigger and better. But thank you so much to everyone who participated. We did a lot last Saturday, and we need to do that all the time. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have some very talented and great people that I surrounded myself with. Any questions about that? Okay, we'll go to the next thing.
Chad, I do have a quick question. That's just once a year or twice a year. What are you doing in the end?
It's once a year. We're trying to encourage communities to take pride in where they live and sweep the front and the back of their properties. And when they see illegal dumpers, make sure they take their tag numbers down so they can report it and we can track them down. Because it's everybody's responsibility. Even store owners should be cleaning up in front of their stores. Okay, now to today's announcement. Please join me in welcoming our brand new Baltimore Children's Cabinet. It has been more than a decade since Baltimore had a dedicated body to guide our work for children and families, so we're quite overdue. But more importantly, the creation of this particular Children's Cabinet at this particular time is a vital next step in our commitment to making sure all Baltimore's children and families have what they need to succeed and thrive. This summer, I created the Mayor's Office of Children and Family Success and appointed Tisha Edwards, a true leader and champion for Baltimore's young people, to lead it. The office is creating a system of supports that will lift up our children and make our families whole. And the good news is that we've already had much of the knowledge we need to do that. We just need to focus that knowledge and support it with a set of clear priorities. And the Children's Cabinet will facilitate that approach. We're moving quickly on behalf of Baltimore's children and families. The barriers they face are far too many, and we can't do this work alone. I hope that all of you will join Tisha, the new Baltimore Children's Cabinet, and my administration in this important work. Now I would like Tisha Edwards, Executive Director for the Office of Children and Family Success and Chair of the Children's Cabinet, to come up and talk more about what the Cabinet will look like in practice, their goals, and future work. Tisha.
Good evening. First and foremost, I just want to thank Mayor Young for his commitment to children and families and saying to us that we need to do everything possible with urgency. And so, Mayor Young, this is a manifestation of your mandate for us to get everyone focused on children and families. I also like to acknowledge my cabinet member colleagues. We have a cross-representation of all of the city agencies, we have state agencies, we have great institutional partners who have joined us in this journey and have said that they are ready to take action and take responsibility for Baltimore's children and its families. And we had our first meeting this morning where we have pledged and committed to working together and moving the needle for children and families. And so I want to thank my colleagues who are in this journey with us and who are committed time, resources, and expertise to making Baltimore better. And so we're just very excited about the opportunity to have a collective impact strategy that is very focused, and we promise to deliver measurable outcomes for children and families in our city.
Okay, thank you, Tisha, and all of the cabinet members for donating your time and commitment to this critical work. Any questions about the Children's Cabinet?
What is different from just your cabinet that would, I mean, what distinguishes this
The
effort
difference
from
is-
a,
The difference is we have a cross-section of people who are committed to making sure that we try to help families and reconnect families with resources that they need. And we have some department folk here, the state's attorney's office is represented, housing, because it's everybody's responsibility across the spectrum to do what we can to help our children and their families. You want to touch on anything else?
I would just offer one of the distinct differences is the mayor's cabinet really has a broad agenda across agencies and across all of the operational issues. We consider these folks in the children's cabinet, they are representatives of their agencies, but they are experts in working on behalf of children and families within their specific agency. So what's different about this group is that we have one core mission. We're not going to be talking about, potholes. We're going to be talking about literacy. We're going to be talking about trauma-informed care. We're going to be talking about youth diversion. We're going to be talking about early childhood education. So we have a set of goals and priorities that are child-centric and family-oriented, and that is going to drive our work. So we have a much more focused agenda than the broader cabinet that the mayor pulls together.
And what is the path going to be from the cabinet? What is your, and where you're going to make recommendations, put reports out? What happens after you start meeting and gathering data or some plan?
So what we know is that we are accountable to the public and we need to be action-oriented. This is not thought leadership. This is a group of professionals and experts and leaders who are committed to doing what needs to be done around systems change. We are committed to focusing our resources, braiding our resources, leveraging trusted community assets, and bringing all of those things forward on behalf of children. And so will there be reports? Yes. Will there be meetings? Yes. But I think what we are much more committed to is to be about change. And everyone in this city should see it, feel it, experience it, and we're prepared to be accountable for that change.
What are some of your first priorities?
So we've laid out about 7 things that we're working on, and I think we still need to do some work to think through how that gets executed across agencies. Literacy, 0 to 24, early childhood education, youth diversion, I don't have my notes here, Quran, trauma-informed care, thank you, food insecurity, youth homelessness, and supporting young men of color, boys and young men of color.
will there be any intersection with the Children and Youth Fund?
So the Children and Youth Fund has been invited to be a member of the Children's Cabinet, and so we see them as an important stakeholder group, and we want to make sure that all of the investments that come out of the Children's Youth Fund are aligned to the priorities. So they are a member of the Children's Cabinet.
Are they here today?
They are not here today, but they will be here in the future.
And no offense, but I don't see any youth up there. I mean, how are you going
Yes.
to include that voice?
Absolutely. So this is so let's start with this group is about 20 minutes old.
And this cabinet is about the youth, and we have all these experts up here who are committed to helping our youth. I think it's another city that has it, a
There
children's
are
family.
36 children cabinets
And they all
across the
consist-
country.
And they all consist of grown.
Yeah, we have 36 children cabinets active across the country. We actually have, we're partnering with a national organization to help us to make sure that we're harnessing best practices, and that this is a viable, sustainable, and enduring and institutionalized resource for Baltimore. But I think your question about youth is absolutely critical. This is just the cabinet level. We will have work groups around these specific areas where we will not only be bringing youth to the table, but a broad brush of community stakeholders. We've always said government cannot do this alone, and we want to be as inclusive as possible. And so we're going to have a big tent. This is an all-hands-on-deck moment, and this represents the government-level leadership, but we expect to have deep tentacles and engagement, multi-generational engagement in this work, because that's what it's going to require.
Thank
You
you.
mentioned the national group. What is the national group?
The Forum for Youth Investment. We have a local children's cabinet network.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Tisha.
you.
Thank you, Cabinet. Okay, I'm pleased to announce the launch of our annual Sleep Safe Awareness Campaign to prevent babies from dying due to unsafe sleep environments. The campaign by the Baltimore City Health Department and the Be More for Healthy Babies partners raises awareness about the ABC and Ds of safe sleep: alone, back, crib, don't smoke. Since this campaign began in 2010, the sleep-related infant deaths have been reduced by 29%. Still, unsafe sleep environments continue to be the leading cause of death for infants aged 1 month and older. In 2018, we had 13 babies die in unsafe sleep environments. We had a dramatic increase in sleep-related deaths during the winter months, with 6 in December and January. All of these babies were sleeping in the bed or on a couch with an adult or a child. We are committed to doing everything we can to prevent these tragedies this year as we get into winter programs, the winter months. It is important for everyone who cares for a baby or knows someone who does to speak up about the ABCDs of safe sleep. All babies should sleep alone or on their backs, in a crib, and in a smoke-free home. Unfortunately, it is not always that simple for every family. So we encourage families to connect with Healthcare Access Maryland for services, information, and resources. Families who cannot afford a safe place to put their babies to sleep can access a pack and play from Healthcare Access Maryland by calling 410-649-0500. Again, that's 410-649-0500. The campaign is launching today with a social media campaign and a call to action for more than 800 healthcare providers, child care providers, government programs and services providing food, early childhood education, and social services, and hundreds of churches, nonprofit agencies, and local businesses, all of which interact with Baltimore's families every day and can help us get the word out. We ask that you do your part in educating family members, friends, and co-workers about the ABCDs of infant safe sleep. Please visit the Be More for Healthy Babies Facebook page for more information, and be sure to use our hashtag, #NotOneBaltimore. Is that it? Not one Baltimore? Not one more Baltimore. I want to thank the members of the Health Department and our Be More for Healthy Babies partners for joining me today. We're going to call up Mary Beth if you have any questions about that. Any questions? Okay, thank you all. Let's keep these babies alive. Okay, any general questions?
The DPW audit that was discussed today at the Board of Estimates, it reveals, I think this was revealed in a prior audit too, that they essentially have money sitting around,
It was used because we mandated by, I think it's the EPA, for the landfill Quarantine Road, and they used that money for upgrades and stuff like that over there.
Are you concerned that it was not used prior to?
Well, what I was told was that it was, remember, the board and cleaning used to be over in the housing department, and they got caught up and just was sitting in an account until the auditors found it. So I asked them to go see if they can find some more, because I can use it.
You have asked for an audit.
Yes.
What exactly is that audit going to entail?
Well, that audit is going to look at the water billing issue, who have been not billed. That's what this audit is all about. The Controller's Office audits everything else, and we have contracts with other auditors to look at our system. But that audit that I talked about with Public Works was strictly to look at who's not paying their water bills and why they're not paying. And we're committed to making sure that audit happens, and it will be public.
Are you concerned about the financial management of that agency? I mean, this is not the first time that financial issues
Well,
have been
I'm not too worried about that because, you know, in all agencies, they find money in all these different accounts. That's why I asked for an accounting of all accounts and what they are intended to be used for, so that this won't happen again. You know, I mean, this has been, like you said, Jane, it's been going on for a while, since I was president of the city council, that, you know, these accounts are sitting there, nobody knows what the account is about, because people move on to other jobs that know about this stuff. That's why I ask every agency, every department to have SOPs prepared so the next person that step in will know what, where, and when, and how, so.
How concerned are you that there seems to be regularity accounts with money just sitting in it that we stumble upon every so often?
Well, I mean, that goes back to cleaning up the system so that we can make sure that we know where every dollar is. We get all kinds of grants from the federal government, state government. We get grants from organizations, all that stuff. I mean, you know, it's a lot of money you're dealing with, and it's not like it's widespread. You know, so I'm pretty much trusting the agency to make sure that they know what's in their budget and what it's used for and what it's allocated for. But I want to go back to when it was over in housing, HCD, it was a transfer over with the staff and the money, and that money some kind of way didn't catch up. But the money is spent.
Can you clarify your position on the plastic bag ban?
Well, I'm waiting to see it.
Can you clarify what you're looking for?
I'm just waiting to see, for the bill to come. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the bill.
You were pretty enthusiastic about it a few weeks ago. Did something change, or
I haven't
like a new pause?
I haven't seen the changes yet.
Mayor, you just introduced your cabinet for children.
You guys speak up because I can't hear
Sorry, you just introduced your cabinet for children and youth. Along those lines, have you received any formal commitments from business leaders in the city?
you. Yeah, businesses have committed to work with us to provide some of the funding. I think we have a meeting, I think it's next week. Because Tisha's heading that up. I think it's next week. But they have committed. We met with the business group about, what, 3 weeks ago? About 3 weeks ago.
So
And they're all committed.
They've made formal commitments?
They said they will work with us. I don't know how plain I can be.
Squeegee issue?
This is for a whole host of things. This is not just about squeegee. This is about making sure that we have funding in place for our youth. You know, some kids, like I was at, they call it backpack day out at Wood Home, where they fill the backpacks every week with food for kids to go home. Those kind of programs are the kind of programs we want to support.
The business group you met with regarding funding for youth initiatives, that was GDC?
Say that again.
What was the business group you met with? Was that GDC?
It was a whole lot of different companies and organizations that was there. And we just met recently with all the philanthropic entities, how we can work across the region. Baltimore County, Anne Arundel County, Howard County, and Prince George and Montgomery County. How we can maximize and work together surrounding these issues. Some of the people come from the county to the city and vice versa. So it should not be a line. All the lines to me are artificial lines. So
Did they pledge financial support?
they pledge financial support.
Okay. Do you have a ballpark for that?
No, I don't have a ballpark. I mean, that was our first meeting that we had, which was a very productive meeting. And to be honest with you, it was a great meeting. I was like, oh, wow, yeah. They said, how can we help? We want to help. And, you know, I was just, it was breathtaking for me that they let it. So, oh, we're here, want to know what it is we can do to help you.
And if they donated funds, where would the money go?
If they donated funds, the money would go into the general fund earmarked for those things. It will not be used for any other thing other than what that purpose is for.
Because there's a lot of organizations like the Baltimore City Foundation set up. Would some of the money?
It could go, all of it can go there. I mean, no matter where it goes, it's not going to be used for anything but its intended purpose. Not to close no budget gaps or any of that stuff. Similar to what the youth fund is.
Has you had any progress report on when money might be dispersed from the Children and Youth Fund?
No, I do not. No, Jay.
End of the year.
End of the year?
Yeah. Hey, one thing I want to make clear with everybody. I intentionally made sure that the youth fund is driven by the community and no political influence over that fund. It's driven by them only. I don't get involved in what they're doing, long as they give us the reports, as long as the money is being spent correctly. I have no problems with the Children and Youth Fund. I wanted to make sure that I couldn't call them and say, hey, I want you to give money to this organization, I want you to give money to that organization. None of that can happen. And I told them if any elected leader called them favoring any organization, that they don't give them a dime, and I said that. So I want no political.
This is taxpayer money that is continually replenishing because of coming out of the property tax. Are you concerned that there has been such, I mean, there's only been one round of funding.
You know, as you set up any organization, you have to get your structure in place. You have to cross your T's and dot your I's and make sure that everybody that's on that committee understand what their roles and responsibilities are. And their roles and responsibilities to the citizens of Baltimore. And we have a fiduciary responsibility as a city to make sure those funds are going out the door and make sure those funds are being spent appropriately.
Have you had contact with the either Associated Black Charities or the consultants who run the fund to say, on a date certain, the money's got to get out the door?
We have told them that we don't want the money sitting. Like I said earlier, I don't interfere in the work that they do. I don't want to do
I
that.
guess the question is
So
about political.
they had that conversation with the law department and finance and the president of the city council's office.
I guess the
Those
question,
three
okay, so the
entities were
question
working
is, who
together.
in city government is kind of at least
The
overseeing?
law department, the finance department.
And finance department.
The office of the president and the office of the mayor.
I'm just worried about the money going out the door myself. I want the money into the hands of these nonprofits that's doing the groundwork in these communities. I want it out the door too. And I think some people have already applied, and I think some of the ones who already have the funding that was doing a great job, I guess their funding will continue. You know, when you set up stuff, I mean, it takes time to set up these organizations and make sure that they have their bylaws in place and their structure, and making sure that the money is not sitting around but going out to these worthwhile organizations that have to do RFPs in order to get the funding.
Anything else?
Mr. Mayor, can I ask about the crime? I know you get hit with this all
Oh
the
man, you know that crime. I mean, you know, half the time I don't even want to watch the news, and it's unacceptable the level of violence that's taking place in the city of Baltimore. The commissioner has his plan that he's working, and if you look at where his zones are, you don't see that there. They're moving out, so we have to start shifting. That's why the commission and I have asked our police officers to get out of the cars, spend some time, and then leave and go to some other areas and come back so we can keep them off balance. But we're committed, working with our federal and state partners, to go after these people who are committing all the crime in the city. Some of them have open warrants, and as you know, they can duck and dodge, but eventually we're going to catch them. And to the credit of Commissioner Harrison and our federal partners, they have taken down some of the most dangerous gangs. But as you know, it's like you plant a flower. I mean, in the winter it dies, and then it comes right back. I'm hoping that these colder months will keep them inside and, you know, watching TV and doing something positive, working with their children who probably need some assistance with homework. You know, we're doing everything humanly possible, but you cannot stop someone from riding up in a car and opening fire on somebody. I mean, the police can't catch that, and they can't be everywhere. And when someone have a domestic issue and they're in their homes and somebody shoots and kills one of them or stab one of them to death, police can't be there to see that. But I'm committed to driving down crime in the city. I'm committed to keeping the city a clean city. Like I said, we had the spring cleanup, and I want to thank Jane and her team. They were out there, and I invite the other stations to get their teams out there next year. And it was a wonderful time, you know. I'm committed to reducing crime, but one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to micromanage the police commissioner, because that's his job to reduce crime, and I think his plan is working. It's going to take some time for it really to reduce all the crime that we want to see reduced, and I have every bit of confidence that his plan will work. We have our federal partners, our state partners that are working tirelessly with us, and I think we're going to get the job done. Thank you.